perceive as life, what you perceive as life has just happened to me. And when life happens to you, like I said, life happens to everybody. And when life happens to you, where do you go to? Who do you turn to? What books do you read? What do you listen to? Do you just give up? Do you just stick to yourself? Or do you open up? What do you want to get out of life? What is it that you feel you are here for? What is your purpose? And in doing so, what do you believe in? Today we're talking about faith. It's all about faith, but we're speaking mainly to our men. We're having a conversation today with Uncle Ben, as I personally call him. Do join me as I talk to Mr. Benjamin Katubiya. Hi, Uncle Benjamin, and welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for coming.
Okay, so first things first, we just want to know who is Uncle Ben. I call you Uncle Ben because I respect it like that, but most people know you as Mr. Benjamin Katubiya or Uncle BUK. But who is this man who is very renowned, who most people look up to, except from you being a husband and a father? We want to know more about you.
Well, I like the title Uncle Ben. Many people call me Uncle Ben. Of course, it's a symbol or sign of reverence, respect that has been accorded to me. And of course, the others call me Mr. BUK. I don't mind. Those are my titles, I would say. My name's Benjamin Katubiya, and I'm 55 years old. I was born in Ndola in 1966 on the 10th of June. And I went to school on the Copper Belt in Ndola in particular, and then Kitwe. I went to primary school, Kaloko Primary School, Chilengwa, and then Chiwala Secondary School, and then I also went to Copper Belt University. Graduated in 1991, and from there I've been doing my own business straight from school. I'm married to Opendo, and we have 3 children, 2 girls and 1 boy. The 2 are actually adults. They are grown up. My son is 22, my daughter is 24. The last born is 17. So basically, I'm an entrepreneur, founder of BUK Holdings. Under BUK Holdings, we have BUK Truck Parts, the rear truck parts, and we have BUK Conventions. So the flagship of BUK Holdings is actually the BUK Truck Parts. Most of you know BUK Truck Parts and BUK Holdings. I've been in business for 29 years, and the nature of business basically is trading into heavy-duty parts equipment, and also we went into mining, and since abandoned those projects, we are concentrating on retailing of heavy-duty parts. So we also into DRC, trying to explore business there. Business has been stagnant in this part. Basically, that's about me, my private life, and my business life.
All right.
Thank you.
Uncle Ben, today we're discussing faith. Faith as a man. And being in business, I know for sure, because I'm a baby in it, but today we're talking about faith in men. Because I have noticed right now we're in a society where most young men are rushing to be somewhere, are rushing to be successful, even just to get married. Some of them fear even to engage in certain activities because they feel like I'm not doing enough in society. Probably many of them come from broken homes. And then unlike us women, we have people to speak to. There's a lot of mentorship programs going out there. Everything is all about women empowerment, women chats, women conferences, but a few about men. And when I've discovered that even as you call for men programs, a few will turn up because they're not used to it at all. And most of them are brought up being told don't open up. So even their faith levels is like, just hidden. They don't know who to speak to and who and just how to go about things. So I just wanted to find out, to you, what is faith? What's your definition of faith?
Well, Faith can be, in simple terms, faith can be defined as something to do with trust. You trust in someone, you trust in something. And in the Christian world, we will say faith is actually trusting in God who is unseen, but we trust in Him. So basically, faith has to do with trust. And faith in itself is important, yes, because it causes some movement in one's activities, one's life. It's like a thrust. A thrust meaning a thrust. It moves you forward. It takes you somewhere. Because without faith, you tend to harbor that fear that will incapacitate you not to move forward, not to do things, because you're simply saying it won't happen, or you're scared of something that you may fall on you and bring some calamities out of you. But if you have faith, you begin to move forward. As Christian, we say trust in God, have faith in God, because we know God has a plan for us. God knows the plans that He has for us. And the Bible actually encourages in Psalms chapter 118, verse 8, that we should trust in God. So basically, faith is trusting someone to take you forward.
Okay, so Uncle Ben, I'm looking at now your work. 29 years in business is not a joke, and holding on to business successful to a point where you actually employ others, it's something that nobody must play around with. Would you say that your faith in God, because I know you're more about God, I hate you call scripture as just now. Would you say your faith in God was one of the drives that you had to go through every other thing that hit you along the way?
Yeah, I would say yes, and I think I've had a similar question, but of course framed differently, whereby somebody would ask, does the Bible really work in modern business? I would simply say
I was going to ask that.
100% the Bible works in modern business, because the Bible itself has got so many stories and so many instructions on how to handle anything, be it in marriage, be it in business, how to handle finances, how to handle other people's grievances, how to handle finances, and just how to be a reasonable person. To respect other people's things. So the Bible still works. And for me, I would simply say that the Bible itself, the Word of God, has been a guiding light in my business. There are many things that we've done as me and my partner. My wife was actually one of the shareholders. We've done things according to the Word of God. And as such, it has actually propelled us to where we are, from a small beginning to where we are. And I can say that our very few problems of our own creation. What I mean is that taking other people's things or being mean to employees, and this is where we are because of the Bible. So I want to encourage everyone that is watching or listening to pay particular attention to what is commanded, to the Word of God, because the Word of God is actually the guiding light into our path. In the absence of that, I tell you, you have challenges in life, challenges in business, because you have numerous court cases, people taking you, dragging you and there. And then for men, usually, I'm sure this is not a secret, you'll find that businessmen, you have chains of women, there's my guru there, there's my nini out there, and all these my ninis, they want cars, they want houses, you have children out there. So it depletes even on the resources that your business is making. And apart from that, you just become a liar through and through. But you see, lies are not permanent, they will actually follow you. In the end, your wife discovers about this in society, you lose respect, and whenever you want to go out for business or sort out for business, they look at anybody is that they have no respect for you. Basically, they won't even give you. Basically, they won't do business. They won't even entertain you. So it's important that as a people, and Zambia being a Christian nation, we are the young ones, because this is what we call imiti kula impanga. So we need to pump some sense in them. We need to pump some brains in them, so that at least our country can be excited to do things beyond measure. Because as you can hear, you heard recently one Chinese saying that Zambians they have what was that?
They say we don't have. Is it passion or
something like that?
We are not enthusiastic, something like that.
Yeah.
I
But
do remember.
You see, this is his observation, and usually that observation is actually coming from his experience with living in Zambia. So, if you go elsewhere, I tell you, young ones are more keen to do business, more to do with things. If you go to Nairobi is Kenya, I should say, it's a very impressive place. It's Nigeria, it's the same. Forget about what you know about Nigerians, but there are good Nigerians out there. They're hardworking, and like here, you have so many John Soliowali and things like that. But mentorship forum is coming up, and it's a good thing. I must also congratulate you for this kind of spirit, this forum, because it's all about mentorship.
Yes.
You have approached me, you are getting the message from being an experienced person in this field, and you're going to disseminate that information to your colleagues out there, which is a very, very good thing. So I just want to encourage you to continue. Yes, we might have faced challenges and failing to get mentors on board, because some people would be mentors don't want to talk about their
journey. I've seen that.
Like
yeah,
that.
I was going to also ask about that.
Usually it's because maybe they have things to hide and maybe they're shy. So there are so many reasons why people don't want to come forward. But I think we are in the right track, and I feel that in the next 5 years, if we increase this movement, we're going to have Zambia changed. I know.
So, Uncle Ben, now talking about your book, the one that you recently wrote, I know that the first one, The Winning Entrepreneur, which I really enjoyed, but this one really struck me because I think it had a lot to do with the standing of faith, and this one says, when God seems at a distance, and it just got me thinking, a man of your caliber, we know nobody is above God, yes, but it takes a lot for somebody to acknowledge God in public. It takes a lot, and a few would do that actually. So I just wanted to ask, what really inspired you to write the book? What really prompted you to write?
First and foremost, The Winning Entrepreneurs, there's a second edition, which will be on Amazon on Thursday. The book that we're talking about, when God seems to be at a distance, is already on Amazon, going for $5.99. Paperback will be $8.99. Of course, I'm cheaper than others. My goal is not to cash in, but of course, I just want to recoup the expenses that went into writing the book, and also publishing it. A lot of expenses that people don't know. So I would want to make a statement that money will not save you. Money will not save you. Yes, you can have money. If you are diseased, it will not even save you. You can think of money as a medium of exchange, as just a means of putting needs before us. And of course, those that have extra money, they have wants before. There's needs and wants. These are two different things. Needs are the necessaries of life, shelter, food, and things like that. But wants, of course, are the extras. You're driving a Lamborghini, you're driving S-Class, and things like those are extras of life. There's nothing wrong with that. But the truth of the matter is that never judge a book by its cover. Whether you have money, you have no money, we all pass through some problems. Whether you are a Christian, a non-Christian, we all pass through some problems. Even Jesus himself told us that in this life you have tribulations. Yeah, so he didn't promise us. Of course, we hear these some of these preachers that come about and say, well, once saved, you have a good life and things like that. I tell you, that's when the devil now begin to hit you left, right, center. It doesn't spare you. You are finishing one problem, and if you want to understand what I'm about to talk about, read the book of Job. God had a conversation with Satan.
Yeah.
And I think you know about that story. Similarly, I would simply say that, yes, what prompted me to write the book is the fact that I've not reached the pinnacles of my business. I'm a very ambitious person, and I've still got energy I think I can drive my business to what it is today or what it was 5 years ago. So by 2015, we started having serious challenges in our business through diversification, and problems began to hit us quite heavy, such that it was very difficult even to comprehend where these problems were coming from.
Yeah.
And they were just coming like waves of the sea hitting you up. So it was very, very difficult and quite challenging moments for me as the founder of the company. Money began to dwindle, and then you have these relationship problems because some people actually love you, want to associate with you when you have the money. So I think on that one it's a different topic which requires a lot of
we'll come back to that one.
So I began to face those things, and they will reach the moment where I begin to say, well, God, I've been faithful to you, and why am I facing all this? And again, because we're in a society environment where it's all about showing up, and then you see the Edens are prospering, they're doing well, and your thing is actually dwindling. What is this? You're praying, you're going to say, no, I'm going for a deal, and then you don't get it on merit. They give it to the other guy, and then all those things begin to boil on me, and the financials begin to hit me to the extent where I'm just human. I also begin to doubt God. And of course, you begin to ask him, where
are you?
And why me? Why not me? It's not me, who else?
But I pray to you, God, I've been faithful, I tithe, I pay seed, I help people.
So sometimes you woke up, you just don't feel like going to church.
Yeah.
And somebody's talking about God and you just feel like that. But again, God is a good God, I tell you. And God himself began to speak to me through many mediums. Meaning that somebody just calls you. You have never heard from this guy, and then he calls you. How are you, my brother? I don't know. He begins to talk about God, and he's actually speaking like he knows what is happening in your life, but he doesn't know. You jump in a car, you switch on the radio, especially Christian voice and other. It's like the message is just talking about you. You don't want to go to church, and suddenly you just say, let me just go. And you reach church, you're in church, the man of God is talking about you. So I said, what is this now? I said, no. This is the story of Eli and Joshua. Remember the man of God, Eli and Joshua.
Yes.
Joshua kept on hearing the voices, and then Eli simply said, once you hear once you hear the way the calling
again, it's not me. Answer to
God. So this is what happens in our life, because we tend not to be in tune with the word of God, and because we haven't had maybe a sound relationship, or we have a sound relationship, but we tend to be absorbed looking at the mountains before us and think that, well, my life is gone. So that was actually happening to me until these voices began to come in, and I just began to devote myself to reading and hearing from God. And then I also asked myself as to what sin have I done that God cannot forgive me.
Oh, yeah.
I searched my heart to try and find out what I really did, and for sure, like just like Job.
And you become spiritual. Search my heart, oh Lord.
The Job also, his friends laughed at him. He said, you had sinned now. And thank God that our wonderful wife, she also just went into prayer as well. And I tell you, my wife can pray right now. When she's praying.
Wife, keyword. The men, are you listening to that? The ones that are not married. Did you hear that? The woman that you married,
she
very
can
key.
pray. And when she's praying, we say, wow. At the end of it, when she says, Amen, you're looking at her, I say, well, it come from her.
And it's so funny because, your wife, I call her, she looks very quiet. You would really think, well, she prays, obviously, but you wouldn't really, the way you're saying it, my wife prays. Like now, I'm now beginning to imagine the quiet woman that she is, and
so
we really thank God for that.
But we thank God for that. Both of us will begin just go to prayers, and I thank God. God will send people to encourage us, those that are ahead of problems. We lost quite a lot of money. I don't want to mention all this. I have quite a lot of money, and it's like every day. Even right now, we have a situation in the DRC where it's like our equipment may never come back, or we've lost it. Money was diverted into different accounts. Congo what it is. So it's been roller coaster, problems after problem. But again, I realized one thing. I looked back, I saw, I actually remembered a friend of mine who actually committed suicide because he was a big one in these companies, and when he left employment, he started his own business. Within 2 years, that company went under. They had a lot of debts. That time, 800,000 watch was quite a lot of money. A lot of money that time. Because in today's currency, we might say that he owed as other people maybe about 7 million watch. So the guy decided to commit suicide. There was a number of people began to be discouraged. I remember one lady that just has also vanished. She was doing very well. She just vanished. And then there were a number of them. I remember even at church, somebody asking me, Uncle Ben, do you have problems? Have you ever, no, she asked me, have you ever had problems? I looked at her. In that instant, had a lot of problems, but she didn't know. But because I was smiling, I said, "Yeah, well, I have a lot of problems now." She said, "No, you don't have the one." I said, "Because God is in me, so to me, I don't pay much attention."
So it's all about having the God in you, praying so much. So Uncle Ben,
let me finish on that one. And I also thought of writing that book. More reason of I'm one person that doesn't hide things. I simply said, well. I'm putting this book forward so that I know a number of people that have, like I mentioned, the young ones of precious. So I'm putting it forward so that somebody can learn from my life.
Yes.
And like somebody said years back, it was said, like Kilimanjaro, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. They put up some notes how to climb them. Use this route, one. That was a survival guide for a person that would come after them. So in my case also, I'm simply saying, yes, there's a Bible. I'm also giving you a survival guide how to go through. And the survival guide that I put in that book, which is when God seems to be at a distance, is basically, I'm referring to God. What I've experienced, I'm referring to God, and how God is taking me to the mountain tops and not leaving me in the valleys. In a way, again, I'm simply saying that like when God said, can you prophesy to these dry bones? So there are dry bones amongst us, especially the ones that don't know what to do. So I'm simply prophesying to them to say, you are somebody, you are God's child, and God has a plan for you. Pick up the pieces and start moving. So basically that's why I wrote that book. It's already on Kindle. The paperback should be out maybe in 3 weeks for it to be sold in Book World, Grey Matters, and every bookshop should have these books. I just want to encourage not just the young ones, but those that are first problems. So even rich people face problems.
Thank God for you, Uncle Ben. Thank you for opening up. So Uncle Ben, just when closing up now, your last remarks, what advice would you give to the younger self, to the younger you, somebody like you, somebody who's starting up, but in this particular generation, you know, where we're exposed to a lot of social media, we're exposed to a lot of information. There's the one that is helpful and not helpful, and there's the one that's exciting. And then the danger is the one that's exciting because it's just exciting, but it's not impactful. And people don't know how to differentiate what's impactful and what's exciting. Most people don't know even when you look at a person, it's hard for people to see this one has potential. And that's something I must come back to. I remember that's 2015 when I was getting into my fashion business. I just came up to you and I literally had nothing, and I said, this is my vision, this is what I want to do. Without even a second thought, you went ahead and just helped me instantly, you see. But at the same time, I faced situations where others would be like, but do I know if anything will come out of this like that? So that also, what would be your last words to somebody looking at going somewhere? Like, how do they differentiate between something that is exciting and where the serious potential and they must wait? Keep the faith in that position.
I tell you the truth, and I just don't want to tell you my story or other people's story. The starting point is actually starting with God, having that intimate relationship with God. And if you look at the Bible itself in the book of Deuteronomy 28 and others, they talk about obeying God's command. And all these shall overtake you, meaning that God will begin to bless you in various fields. But the problem that we have is that the young ones don't tend to trust God. Of course, they've got these sources of information, especially the social media, and they begin to hear it and they think that it's gospel truth. And even when these presenters are giving, they want to portray a picture that these are instant. Once they do this action, they take this action, it's instant. They're going to have gillions in their pockets or in their banks and things like that. But the truth is that if what these people are saying does not conform with the word of God, don't take it. And once you have a relationship with God, the Spirit of God is with you. I tell you, you want to do something to be knocking out, not that. Yeah. And you see, there's that relative peace when you are doing something and innocently, and it's right with God. It's not just peace. But if you are doing something and then there's hesitation, guiltiness, just know that it's not from God. So basically, I want to tell the young ones, just wait upon the Lord, and make sure that whatever you're doing, you just march on. There will be setbacks, quite okay. There will be setbacks. No one will tell you that there won't be setbacks. There will be setbacks, some of them serious. But are these setbacks a learning curve on you? Is it an experience that you can pick up from? And overmore, I would want to say that even when you face problems, how you respond to these problems matters. In my case, I chose to follow God because I know He's my maker. I know He's got plans for me. Others would go to other mediums like Inangas, those guys that advertise to say, if you come to me, you pay me chicken, through a chicken, whatever, you have money and things like that. And that is actually worshipping other gods. But choose God when you are in a time of pressure, even relative peace, just make sure that you obey God. What is important, basically, I'm saying is that you trust God. But even when you are saying that trust God, don't just sit out there and hope for miracles to happen. Miracles is to happen. God has given us the abilities, certain the talents. We just have to move on. In my case, I started with $300. By the way, I've never worked. I've never been. I started from CBU. I started my business with $300.
Oh, wow.
And there was a lot of challenges then. And that's one thing. Those challenges built me to where I am. And even these challenges that I have, I know they are bigger than what I had faced before. But I built my stamina to stand the challenge today. And I know it's just a season and this problem will go. So basically my advice to young ones, go to church, have credible relationship with people that can mentor you, that can help you understand and get through life. If anyone is going to tell you things that are not in the Bible, then know that. I, for one, I read books. If you check my bookshelves, there are a lot of books. And I tell you, I love one author, Mr. Green. One of his books is 48 Laws of Power. I am selective on what I read in that book. He is a good author, but I'm selective on what I read because some of the thoughts there, they are quite crude. They don't conform with the Bible. So I am selective. But if you cannot be selective, just abandon that book. I read quite a lot, and I know this one. I just pack it. So that's my word to the young one. Just brave in, don't quit. Actually, quitting is actually for the faint-hearted people. Don't quit, just soldier on, go seek sound advice from people that have been in business, that have made it, not motivation speakers. Yes, they would motivate you, but the power won't take you to where you want to go. I would want you to go to life coaches who will actually teach you, train you, and make you what God wants you to be, as opposed to just motivation to excite you. When you come back from that motivation speech, you are excited because like you've seen Bill Gates. Yeah.
Okay, Uncle Benj, we've come to the end of our program, and I must just say thank you very much for taking your time, your busy time to be with us, even this COVID time as well. Sparing your time to speak to the young ones out there, even the people that are older. Really thank God for you, and thank you for sparing time for us.
Thank you. You're welcome, and please feel free to contact me. I have a lot to share with the young ones. But as you say, the COVID-19 has actually caused havoc in this world.
It's really caused havoc.
For the last 2 years, it's been caused havoc. Even me, I don't travel anymore. We're just praying that God can hear our prayers and take this thing out.
That was an amazing conversation that I just had, as I personally call him, Uncle Ben, Mr. Benjamin Katubiya, on faith in men, or faith with men, whichever you want to call it, but it's all about faith. And today we're talking mainly to our young men, even those that are older, that have never had the chance to be mentored or to learn from others. There are people that grew up fatherless, others not, they're just not open, they just prefer keeping to themselves. But today we had Uncle Ben, who had a lot to share about his journey in business and just his journey with God, and it's been very helpful. So you are watching Soul Conversations with Mwewa. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and also follow my page Mwewa with that on Facebook.